Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's yours truly, KingFan701. Well, apparently we're in the peak of the summer season right now. We're about 4 days into August. It'll actually be the fifth day of August in about a few hours from where I'm at. But I gotta say, this has been the warmest and intense summer we've had in quite a very, very long time. Now, as we've been progressing at this point, I've got to say, there's been a lot of unique stuff that's been going on in the Thomas community, and mainly for the best. Because as of late, I've been seeing a lot of pretty cool content. I mean, we've seen the end of Narrow Gauge's Ghost Saga, which, dark stories of timeline stories that we never knew of. And I gotta be quite honest, lads, you know, it's really been a hell of a good ride to see what we've been seeing lately. But you know, Victor Tanzik is still doing tremendous, shorts with his Reddit Railway series, which are a little bit odd at times, but I gotta admit they're still entertaining. However, though, I do feel I get a little worried still with his Thomas shorts in terms of regarding where he's going with it now. But um, but besides all that, uh, the fandom overall has really, really been undergoing a tremendous amount of good changes, since this year started in the I think it was sometime around early 2022 or something like that. And since then, it's just been gaining some good momentum. I mean, we've seen some great new talents come in. We've seen virtually newer YouTube users come in to make a statement, made brand new, different model series, and some of us give us a bit of a nostalgic flavor. And now I'm going to be quite honest, I've seen some tremendous quality that kind of brings back an old school sense of feeling that I remember growing up with. And I think some of you YouTubers can agree as well. Like, you can even take a look at Thomas and the Railway Tours, for example. That is definitely a brand new, refreshed series, and it introduces British locomotives, but also it's starting to use Australian and, of course, American engines on the railway. But the style and quality and the style of storytelling and character introduction, it kind of reminds me of the old ways, like back in the day when you had back when we were slightly younger, when we had guys like Combined Harvester 01, Missiver and Blossom, and of course Thomas the Backman series way back in the old glory years. And just to name a few railway model series, I've kind of seen that making a bit of a comeback recently, and that's really, really cool. And I really like that. Not to mention, we're seeing other talents that I used to know and work with who have done tremendously well with their storytelling, and it's gained a new following of followers, and of course, newer fans who are kind of getting into that sort of thing. But at the same time, while that's been happening, there's also been this, other series which is like, I wouldn't say out of context, but it's kind of like this bizarre, wild, out of control imagination. That extreme type of thing that we see, like Sodor Mists and the Railway Realm, Sodor Realm, and of course, you know, the never-ending continuation remakes of Sodor Fallout, which has definitely been, been quite a thing lately. And of course, it really is strange. It really is a little strange. But at the same time, we're seeing tremendous guys just trying to make better remakes, and some trying to make them look as incredible as possible. But at the same time, it's good to see fans who still recognize and remember what I used to make with an old team as well. And I still get good comments, and I really do feel blessed to know that there are still people out there that recognize my work and what it really stood for. But at the same time, it's really good to see that people like to spread their appearances, and of course we've seen some of the best go down sour, and some have never recovered, and some have never been better since. But there are those who hang on, and they still. Oh, I can't feel my yawning, guys. They still do their best to try and rebound or try and remake content that they didn't like or try and do something new. But as this year's been progressing, I've seen a tremendous impression of, that the fandom is definitely rebounding very, very strong. And I do feel it's going to get even better by the time we enter the final few months of 2022. And hope and pray that it continues on to get even more better as we progress on into 2023. Now, I'm not sure what you guys think, but I would like to know and hear your opinions about this if you'd like to. Like, put it in the chat and then just pop in and join in. Again, sorry for the yawning, guys. I haven't slept very well. It's been a very stressful day. It's been warm as well, but like I said, ugh. I mean, this week hasn't been quite as good as you might want to think it is, but I don't want to get into that. And it has nothing to do with the Thomas fandom, let me tell you that. But either way, like I said, I am sensing a lot of good coming out, and I really am happy to know that things are looking really well. The progression is slow, but as of now, it's really looking very good. Like, the Thomas fandom definitely can rebound, if not rebuild itself back from the ground up. I mean, after the downward spiral it took, during, I think it was just before the pandemic hit or before 2020 came around, like, it definitely was like on its last legs almost. Like, there was so much out of content, there was so much, that we didn't like. And, there were people out there who were making Thomas fandom do, who were making stupid content to try and attack us all and show the disapproval. Like, it really was disappointing. Like, even some of the guys that I once knew, or those who became lost, ruined their own content just to get back at their haters, just to give them the reaction they wanted. And it's terrible. And I don't want to name a couple of guys who can do that. But seriously, I mean, the fandom does need to get back in terms of its content and story creativity and that sort of thing. But it's the membership itself, like the fans itself, definitely needs to have an upgrade. Because you'll first have guys who join them, and then like weeks later they show their true colors and they end up, being absolutely just silly. Like, they were never fans to begin with. Like, they just throw a lot of content that makes no sense, and then they just like mess it all up. Or there are those who tend to join because people like myself and Brandon and Victor and of course other guys, just name a few in the fandom, get like fake good credit, and then all of a sudden they get, hurl abuse, and that's something that's just so wrong. Oh, hey, Guster, nice to see you. I'll just put a link in if anybody wants to join. Hey, Roger, I can see you're with us.
Hey, guy. Hey, Glenn.
I'm doing good. I saw you there, so I just wanted to wait because I was just trying to get a lot of stuff off my mind. Like I said, I mean, there's been a lot of, good stuff happening in the fandom. It's getting better. We're kind of getting there. Like, I know we're getting to the point where we're kind of happy to see it back, but it's just, to me, the membershiping of those who helped make it what it was, they need to change their attitude just a little bit. Like, we've seen so many great people who have tremendous talent, but the thing is, behind the smoke and mirrors, so to speak, or should we say behind the smoke and steam, to put it in railroad content, the creators reveal themselves to be not quite as, as we might see them on the surface. Because if you think about it, we all have a life behind the great stuff that we like to do for our fans. I mean, like myself included, and I know for a fact that, it hasn't been all, glorious for me either, and not for everybody else too. Brandon can share his story too. But it does disappoint me that that Thomas is not the only one that has the problem. You got like the Doctor Who fandom, you got like the Tugs fandom, Star Wars. Although Star Wars does tend to get off lightly a lot because a lot of us can interact with that for a good laugh. Hey Christopher, hey Game Dan 63, and hey Gusta. If you want to come in, I sent the link in here for you so you can pop in if you want to have any time. But besides that, the anime, the anime's fandom, and of course, even the MLP fandom gets off worse too as well. But I've seen some older content that are still recognized this day that still get loved and enjoyed, and it's funny because back when I didn't like it too much, I kind of look back now and it's kind of okay in this time, whereas back then I wasn't too keen. But still, the Thomas fandom definitely looks better now. There does seem to be kind of some mentality and some good has come back to it, but it's just the fact is it depends on who's actually with us. Like, to me, I do feel the new generation does kind of feel out of place, and I'm not saying it's because of the bloody reboot and whatnot or anything that many of us didn't want. That has nothing to do with it. It's just the way how people might be brought up with it. That's kind of what I think. And there are some fans who might forget they were that way and then they take content the wrong direction. I do remember one time, one guy read a comment to me and he said something about like, the fandom does so well, but they take it the wrong direction.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like intentionally in the wrong direction.
Oh.
Yeah. And when we try and have friends that we know who try and help us with that, they only kind of just like give it, I wouldn't say a slap in the face, but it's almost like they've come to believe what they see. And I do feel like, in a way, social media is the worst place for the fandom, as we all know, via Twitter, and we all know that's the worst place for the fandom to be in, although I have seen some good content that looks very good and not like the out of control stuff that we once saw that was too disturbing. So it does look like the fandom definitely got its head wrapped around it, but I still feel like that is kind of not the place to be in.
Yeah.
Hey there, Williams boy, nice to see you. It's been a while.
Hang on, let me just adjust my position. Just. There we go. That's or better. That's better.
I did apply that. I just had a message there. But besides all that, there are some of the greatest who have like kind of either left or retired, or they just don't know what they're doing nowadays. But it's good to see that some contents have survived for so long, and they're still there back from their glory days. But I do have to admit, they're still watchable and loved to this very day. There's some old fans like myself who say, "Oh, I remember watching this like it was yesterday," or "This is still great even during today's time." Like, it's amazing to see older content survive like more than 10 years of age. Like, some of them have lasted 15 years or even 16 for God knows how long.
Yeah.
And yet the user may not be there now, but who knows? But still, that's the good thing about the internet, when you can look at some good stuff and you can remember what it was, and but at the same time, you can only find some older stuff for so long. But again, like I said, there's a lot of good positive things that are happening in the Thomas fandom, and I don't know how it's being thrown around, but so far I do feel like we're back on a much safer showing for the audience nowadays, where there's a balance where it is for kids and it's for grown-ups. So I do feel like there is something going on. I just think the level of the target audience is another problem. If anybody you guys want to come in, like I said, I've left the link here for you guys. Like you can pop in and join in. So here you guys go.
Oh, Dr.
Because
Beeching,
like
what have you done? There once were lots of
yes, you know,
dreams you
it's not
got
going to
to
talk.
soon will be known. You know, I've noticed that most nostalgia Thomas videos use the Dr. Beeching theme song.
Oh yeah, the old Dr. Beeching. Yeah, I remember that one, but I don't remember. I only remember hearing it briefly in Troubles of Train 3, and then I heard it played on one of the old SIF videos. I don't know where it was, but I do remember hearing it there too. But it was like a different track style. But it is good to know that there are some good content that is still remembered and still watchable. Like, it's amazing how far we've all come. But at the same time, it's just, again, it's just so disappointing, should we say, that you have guys that join us and then, even after a teeny bit of a fallout or even after a mistake or here or because of life outside clashes in, that's what ruins it. And of course, we all know that you and me, Mr. Rogers, have seen the brunt end of it, and it's never a good thing.
Unfortunate but true.
It's almost like that's the thing. Like, it's like fandoms were made for that sort of BS stuff, for toxicity and arguments and out of content stuff and all the things that we see that are not considered normal in fandoms, if you want to call it that way. But there are those who like to have fun and make us laugh a little or push us over the edge a little bit. I can get that, but there comes a time and a place for that to happen, you know. And of course, using memes and all that kind of stuff. I mean, as I said before, about what, 3 or 5 years ago, fandoms were made, to make friendships, to be with people and friends, to share common interests and not for arguments and, for drama and fallouts and all that BS. And for those who want to be attention seekers, because that's what a lot of them in the fandom did become.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
Some became toxic of their own interests, you know? I mean, heck, even I had my own issues, but I never went to that level. But I'll admit, I nearly went down that direction. But I'm nowhere near that. I mean, I know I have my own problems, and I know I can get a little feisty, but then again, that's my emotions that kick in. And after all the stuff that's been going on lately, I mean, it's just gone better and better. But the only question that hangs over my head is how long will it be before a certain other guy or anybody that we may not know of might pop in and try and screw it all over again? Because I was so convinced the Thomas fandom wasn't going to last, even just before the so-called series ended, before we had that terrible reboot. And a lot of fans did say that was going to be the death of the fandom. And I was quite convinced that that was going to be the case. Or maybe we all overreacted simply. I don't know.
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't. It's really hard to tell.
But at the same time, it's just definitely something we didn't want. You know, I can only imagine what Reverend W. Audrey and, of course, his son Christopher would have thought, which begs me to differ.
Yeah.
It's just like, now that I look back on it, I know like what they're trying to do, but it's like I said about when the movie Superman Returns. When they made that 2006 reboot of him, like it had its moments, but its heart was not in the right place. That's kind of like what I'm now seeing with this whole new franchise of Thomas. Like it has its target audience, but it's just that it just doesn't have its heart in the right direction, to tell an actual story that we know of with trains that we all know too well and what we love about it. And that's what's really, really, I wouldn't say gut wrenching, but it's a bit kind of bizarre to look back on. I mean, I can only imagine now, when kids grow up now, they'll think this is what Thomas is made of until they read the books and the actual series itself. And I actually say this to a lot of people when I'm out there and about, when everybody he's buying Thomas. I always say, don't waste your money on this merchandising. Just get the books, get the original series, and watch it that way, and then you'll understand it. And a lot of people,
Yeah.
yeah, and a lot of people who are like me, who are growing up with Asperger's syndrome, they actually have grown up with the same thing that I did. So that confirms to me they're real Thomas fans and they understand what the franchise is all about, which is good. So I know for a fact there are some people out there that still remember. So it's not all doom and gloom. Hey, Gusto.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to see you
Hi
again.
there. Yeah.
So if you heard me, like I was not ranting or whatever, but it's just something I wanted to bring up, and maybe you could join in as well, Gusto.
Yeah, actually, I had this one thought that I think the show could have done, like, because it just dawned on me how, in the book series, including the Christopher Audrey stories, the series ends on a good note. Like, Gordon gets retired, and but he gets to run a branch line, and all this other stuff happens, which I wish I was more familiar with. But what I'm thinking is, I wonder if the show could have just gone with the books, like, all the way, even through the Christopher Audrey books, even though those were kind of spread out as far as like release dates. But I'm just saying, like, more in tune with the books, even though they're those stories that Andrew Brenner wrote were good. I'm just kind of more into like the RWS. If I had anything to say on the matter.
I can see what you're saying, pal. I do really believe that there would have been a lot of good stuff that would have happened. I do know in Christopher Audrey's Railway series of the Railway RWS stuff, there were some that we could see that had been written that were mainly adapted into I think season 2 and 3, and I think maybe I think it was. I'm not too sure. But
Yeah,
I
if I
think a
think,
lot.
yeah,
I,
especially when even though I would have preferred the model series to have done this, but I get because of the scale. But you know how in the CGI they managed to do, I think, 3 out of 4 stories for the Arlesdale engines. The
yeah,
three. I don't know if I think it was called the three railway. Not three wind. No, there's the
similar.
small. It's the 3 small. You know what I'm talking about. I
Yeah, I know.
I
Yeah, we
prefer
know.
them
Yeah,
as the Arlesdale. Um,
Because
yeah,
I
you know.
know what I got. Oh, Dr.
But,
Beach, no
but yeah,
team.
and plus what I realized is how they didn't add Jock to that, or even Frank, or any
I
of the
was.
other characters.
Yeah,
That would be
I was thinking Frank and Jock were going to appear near the very end, or at least they were going to build up to it, unless they were just going to focus on the original
well,
three. I
yeah.
don't know, but it was good to see that there was high hopes for season 21, or was it season
Yeah.
20? I can't remember, but there was a lot of high hopes that the fandom was going in the right direction. Mattel listened. They were going to, like, the thing they still missed out was Cody Fell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I noticed that.
I say that I literally, whenever I'm on a stream, sometimes I say that because, one, they could have done so much with it, because with the Erdl, they only made 3 characters. They could have made all the characters. They could have done so much more with it. I mean, especially
Yeah.
with Wooden Railway. I mean, heck, they made the mining no, what's what's that mountain set? It's like the mountain mine set. I swear I would know off the tip of my tongue, but because they make mountains in different sets, whether it's, but I swear they could have done more with that, because they only make Coldy and Catherine and that works unit.
And Lord Harry as well.
Well, they didn't make a wooden Lord Harry, surprisingly. They had like 3 versions of Coldy, one from like from 1994.
I got 2 versions of Coldy: the 2005 one and the re-release of 2015.
No, I have the. Actually, let me grab them.
Perhaps they were too busy. Perhaps they were too much of expensive for budgetary reasons. I think I don't know, but it would have been intriguing. Like I said, and we've seen them, but there's been plenty of them made in the trains era, which is really good.
That is true.
So
All
it's
right,
not
so I
all doom and
checked.
gloom. But I will be quite honest. I wasn't really look. I know they were good to read. I mean, the books, yes, but I'm not really a big fan of mountain railways. Don't disrespect, but that's just me.
Yeah.
But
So I
it's
found
funny.
both the coldies I have, and one's like a 1997, and the other one's like a 2003. But
Though I will admit, in the books they were really intrigued to read. But like I said, I think in trains they're okay as well. But in my railway series canon, the Cauliflower Railway never existed. It's just I just have no interest with them. I mean, they're good though. Don't get me wrong. I just don't have just not my thing. It's like they don't know high speeding going up the Rhine or whatever. But it's still it's still intriguing to read about them still.
oh, for sure, yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Yeah, it amazes me how like many different YouTubers have left, whether it was something bad or they got canceled or they just left. Kind of like what was it, Turtles and Thomas over some random, I can't remember what happened, but something negative, of course, and then like a few others that like Miss Oliver and Blossom, but he had a reason for it, which was good. But I don't know. I just remember a great time, like I think it was like 2015 or those early 2010s when we had a lot of good content creators.
Ah, yes, those were the days.
Yeah, back when they were younger and they knew what they were doing, and there's some who were younger than we were at the time, and they
Well, yeah, considering when I was born, man, I was definitely young. Because I remember watching a bunch when I was in middle school. Because it was like, yeah, this is stuff I watch. This is
this
great.
is entertaining. It's like online entertainment. Like if you can't watch it on TV, you got this. I mean, 2007 and 8 and 9 and into 10, they were really good. But I will admit, though, to be quite honest with you, lads, I think 2000 and well, I discovered YouTube before I used it. Were I think it was 2000. Yeah, 2005. I think it was. I discovered it, but I didn't start
Well,
using it
yeah,
until
because I think 2005 is when YouTube became a website. If I'm correct, I'm not sure.
I
Must be
don't
like
remember when, but still,
yeah.
2006 was definitely kind of rolling around. But at the same time, what's funny about it, I discovered it after if there's another program I remembered, and it was called. Does anybody remember Google videos? Remember back in those days when you used to watch videos and it was like YouTube, but instead you watch Google videos.
Huh.
They were like the early version of what YouTube would become.
I don't think so.
Oh man, that was good. It's not like when you see videos now, but back then they used to have like a playset video channels, and it used to be back in the day, and it was really really good. It was fantastic back in those days. Um, YouTube came along, and I remember the olden days, man, where you could have your own background, your own icon, and then they had what was called at the time YouTube Stream, and not like this, but it was back then when you could have like your own private YouTube party, and you could have your friends in or have some fun, or
Yeah.
oh god, how am I thinking that back? This was back in the day when it was really back cool, like but they were back then when anybody in different ages could join, you know what I'm saying? But when I look back on it now, it wasn't as bad as you think it is today, or what it would have been like. They still had an age policy,
Oh yeah, yeah.
but it was still safe. But there were still people like you had to be like at the time, I think about under 15 or 16 or regardless to join it, unless you understand, or they just say if you understand the rules, regardless. Oh, and there you lost for a second. But that was back in the day. And I think back in those days as well, there was a lot of cool, respectful people that just loved what they saw, and some wouldn't like ask you questions like, they give you harsh criticism, or they just blindly just disrespect your content. But back in those content days, it was very different.
Yep, I clicked on the wrong button. I
That's
was
all.
going to open a new tab. Right?
Oh, but either ways, guys, like I said, I mean, as 2009 or 8 or 10 or whatever it was all around, it was really good. Like I can remember, there was a lot of activity during those time periods. I mean, it still was really good. Even in the early 2010s, it was still probably the
Oh,
best
yeah.
thing going still in our everyday life. Whereas you could tune in, or you could catch up with what you lost, or before we had Netflix and everything else, or catch up TV. But like I said, it's still amazing to see how people have evolved over time. But I still believe that when you look back at the Thomas community, it's pretty obvious that during 2007 and 8 and 9 and 10, before our guys came into the picture, like newer, new, new recruits on the block that came in, that have tried to lay the groundwork for the next generation, almost like the passing of the torch.
Yeah.
Like it's almost like Miss Over and Blossom, Combined Harvester, my good buddy Dalek 44, God bless him, man, who I voiced for 8 long years with. I would love to get back into it still, if I can. You had Sonic fan Knuckles, whatever his name was, who was hilarious for what he did, and you had you know who else was there? You had Turbo KJ, who did the Troubles and Train saga, which is still iconic to this very day. People still go back and watch it still. And you have, and you had who else was there? Captain Punjab is still, his channel's still there. It's just a shame he hasn't come back. And still people wonder where the hell he's been.
Yeah.
You have Spark Shot, who did, the other Thomas Miles series, from episode 1 to wherever it was, and you had other series which were good, and then and then there was like Henry Blue Pioneer. You can forget that YouTube user, the guy who did dark weird stuff with his Backman stuff and all that stuff that he did. If you don't know who I'm referring to, he's one of those old school users who was evolved over time. He was one of those I remembered back in the early days. And besides all that, you had voice actors as well that laid the groundwork to where we are now, who, don't get me wrong, but they're fantastic users who can do fantastic voicing. But the problem is like getting to know who they are behind the camera, and it's like us, people are aware about me, but they don't know who I am as a person in terms of
And
even when you see me on camera, they say, oh, they only just see me as an online user, but not the man behind the guy itself, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. And whenever I'm before I ever talked with any YouTubers, like I'm doing now, because 2020 was that year that all changed when I discovered Discord, and the people that I've met over the past couple of years, it's pretty incredible considering some that are big names, especially you, Glenn, of course.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what name you call me, I still respond.
I know.
It's a funny trend. It's a funny trend. People sometimes ask me if they want to call me by my real name, but then again, I say it doesn't really matter. I still respond.
Yeah, and I mean, some just call me Gus, but I sometimes like to prefer Guster. But then again, I don't really care much. Because there's the thing, I mean, I can't imagine anyone ever calling me by my full name, which is Augustus, since that's a long name.
Sounds short for me, though, but either ways. Okay, Gamer Dan 63 just asked me, okay, this is getting a little old, but yeah, well, it's nice to see you all age now, but I'll tell you what, I've said this many times about my ghost train with Timothy, look, it's very simple. It was back in the day when I discovered in 2013, I think it was, when the creepypasta came out about it, and then I saw remakes of it being written on DeviantArt at the time, and then I saw like the first early remakes, which kind of got me a bit fascinated, although it did get on my mind a little bit. And then I had an old friend of mine named German Sodor, aka Jerome, as we used to call him, who got me into the train stuff. But then we did this whole cool idea of doing a remake, which is why, as it turned out as it was. And then we decided to do like a remake of a full movie of it when we did the whole extended creepypasta, but turned it into a movie, and we gave, Timothy a complete reboot of his character, and we gave him a backstory. And I gave everything that I had, what I thought, why was he painted silver? Why did he look like Thomas? Why did he have the number 0? And, why did he, quote unquote, kill himself? That was, at the time, that was the big thing. And, of course, it was still a big hit today still. I still had mixed critics, but they loved it because of the storytelling and the writing. And, of course, how relatable Timothy has been as a character who suffers from, abuse, loneliness, and depression, and kind of like how I relate myself in reality, except Timothy was a very different, darker style of what Thomas was going to be. And over time, people have done their own versions of it, and it doesn't really bother me too much if people still credit me about it, but they've got to keep in mind that I'm not like the original owner. I just rebuilt Timothy as a different way as I wanted him to be. And he still is to this day, but it's just that, again, I've rebooted him again because the so-called darker era of the Thomas time, if you want to recount the Sodor realm, or, Shed 17, or if you want to count the, or if you want to, I know, or if you want to recount Sodor Fallout or the Sodor
honestly, I'm against Sodor Fallout. I mean, no offense, I just don't like the idea of mixing two different like a video game and
I thought it was a video game because I did see
it was a Fallout. Like they had different Fallout games, but mixing it with Thomas and Friends, it didn't really make sense to me in a way.
I know it doesn't make sense, but I look back on it now thinking, oh, this is kind of like a cool Halloween, or someone had an idea of doing something pretty unique with it. Like, I still like it for what it is, but I still ignore the whole beast thing. But the rest of it, I'm fine with it. I mean,
I like how it's something, like somewhat original. I mean, I like in that, and the plus the context of how they chose certain characters, like one of the Scottish twins, and even and like how not every character survived. Besides, like I can't remember who survived that, but there's so many different like.
It's good to see Edward as well having a leading role as usual, and of course, I think Henry's role. I thought Henry's role was fantastic, having him with that shed over him, which has become quite the iconic thing nowadays that he has to protect himself, and using his Welsh coal so he doesn't get mutilated, which I thought was quite clever.
For sure. Yeah.
I still think it's a really good. I still think it's okay for what it is, but I don't, look into death like others do. I just think it's good in terms of creativity, and it's not as dark as you would like to refer to some others, but still, like I was referring to, if you want to talk about the other darker stuff, like all the ghost stories that were being done, like Shunter Productions was doing, and of course, NWO in 1991 did it as well. That kind of got the idea of what I was doing with my own. And if it wasn't for Shunter Productions, I wouldn't have done what I was doing. Again, to this very day, a lot of people don't like the fact that people think I stole from him. But I was actually at the time adapting and just reusing some of his, content just to help me with my early ideas at the time, which I was lagging. And I only say it because I dedicated what he had done, because he left an inspirational thing on my life that to this very day I owe him, And it's funny because he hates my Timothy stuff, but whenever I credit to him, give him a nice comment on his videoing or showing I really appreciate what he's still doing to this day, he likes what he accepts it and he approves of it, which always baffles me because there's some good people that I still idolize and look up to who just despise me, but they absolutely love what I'm saying. So that kind of makes me wonder what's going on behind the screens of the users. You know, that doesn't make sense. Like, you know, I can understand people are being protective of their creativity or so, or they worry about whose fans they're with. But still, come on. I'm not like one of those guys who will just say a mean thing or put something to offend. I wouldn't say that, you know, because their content is one of the best thing that keeps me going and keeps me living with the franchise. But
Yeah,
besides all that, though, during 2015 is when I got the movie done of Timothy, and it just got better with what I had in mind at the time. Like, Harvey the Correct Roman was good. It only took me about 6 months to do altogether, but it was very
yeah,
difficult with the editing because of the rendering that was really a pain in the backside. And of course, with a certain individual who was just trying to screw things up with me. Whose name,
Oh yeah, him.
yeah, whose name I will not mention, but still. But yeah, that was another issue. And then, as we all know, Ghost Train 2, which would have been, originally Ghost Train 3 until I had to change the naming around because I was going in chronological order with this. Ghost Train 2, The Clinchfield Curse, is still to this day the best project I ever worked on. If it hadn't taken me 2 years to do and sacrificing 2 years of my life, and of course, it was the unfortunate movie that broke a lot of friendships for me. That kind of destroyed my own run in the fandom somewhat, which kind of tarnished my, well, I wouldn't say reputation, but as a member, and I haven't been able to rebound since. You know, and a lot of people just ask me when's Ghost Train 3 coming out, just to piss me off. You know, that's why I couldn't tell a lot of guys, like I'm not a part of the creativity, and people are just so reluctant to use me again because they think I'll just do what I did in Clinchfield again, which I wouldn't. It's just the fact is that team working was very difficult. And since then, people are just too reluctant to ever have me at their side as a team player, you know? And that's what really sucks.
It's yeah, and it's times like these where I'm reluctant to make my own series and just keep it to myself.
Well, then again, you do need to have your target audience, though, Mr. Rogers.
and the
I
thing
know.
is, like, whenever and weirdly enough, I still am still doing a series, which is a Wooden Railway series, which have done, I think, for the past, I swear, a couple years, maybe a year. I don't know. Somehow I'm keeping it alive, even though I'm half and half, where I'm like, I kind of just want to, stop, do something different. But then again, people really like it, and so. But the thing is, I've had to help with writers. Like I have, well, somewhat of a team. Somewhat. It depends on who even chimes in at the time. But and one thing I can't stand, and I can't stress this enough, is like when it comes to voice actors, I I'm at the point where, I mean, because half of them don't really take it seriously, but but
I'm
but
one, I'm one of the few who can take it seriously because I am still trying to rebound in my voice acting.
yeah.
So I could still tag along if you want me to, Gusto. I'll be more than happy to.
Yeah, and the
So,
thing is, like, with and because it's a season 4, um, and I'm also trying to make it to where it's one whole video, which it'll be a long video, but it'll be like classic Thomas DVD kind of format, where in between episodes it'll have like a nameplate segment, which I'm excited about since I have all the camera shots, everything, like, have like handpicked, and I even got like a list of, I got like a thing of bloopers that are hilarious that I
oh,
add to it too.
uh, okay,
But
as you asked me who's my favorite Thomas engine, it's very simple. Henry has always been my top favorite, although Gordon's slightly been slipping into the top role, but that's just me if you combine the two as me as an NWR engine. But Henry's always been my number one character.
yeah, literally some of the guys on my Discord server, there was one time where we were talking about favorite engines, and and who we were like similar to, and one of them told me, "Yeah, you're kind of like old shape Henry," and I'm like, "Well, yeah, but I get why, because
Basic,
I have
basically Henry MK1.
yeah, and I can understand that, especially with like how I deal with stuff and my personality, but for me, I feel more like I don't know, I feel more like Edward, Henry, and Percy as like one mix.
I get you.
Even though I've done a test where the result was James, even though James isn't a favorite, but I mean, who can deny his red paint?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of having your Discord, I'm not sure if I'm in your server or not, but I'll be more than happy to join in with you.
Oh, sweet. Yes, I'll send
I've
you
tried
a.
to, I've tried to find Jim, but his server's gone very silent as well. I can only imagine where he's gone.
Huh. Yeah. Here, I can invite you. It's fairly easy. Let me find your name on here.
Sure, I'll pop in and see what we got.
Yeah, because currently we're in the phase where we're trying to figure out who's going to edit what and such, which it'll be me and another person, of course, but because of his computer, he can't handle 4K, 4K footage, but my computer can, so I'm going to end up editing that side of things. But then again, I still haven't gotten any voice.
I've got two guys down here who are down here at the moment, so I'm going to try and add them in and see what they're like and see what we've got. Okay, I've got an old friend of mine, Electro Toe Ford, who I've not heard in a long while, but I'll put him in. See what he says. Hey there, old friend. Nice to see you. And welcome back.
Nice to see you guys.
Hey, Terry. Nice to see you. Been a long time
Hello.
since we've spoken. It's good to be back.
I'm just gonna go upstairs. So this is my first time joining you guys in your stream. I heard that you have been talking about how Thomas characters have been, how the fandom has been about the fandom.
Whoa. Yeah, it's been a long while, mate. I remember you talked to me a lot in the chat once, and now you're finally here on the chat. It's good to see you, mate.
I remember watching Ghost Train: The Untold Story of Timothy and Horn and Branch like last year, like when I was like 11 years old, since 2016. That was when The Loud House came out.
Yeah, when you watch Ghost Train 2, the one with 311, and that's the one that
I need to watch that this Halloween, if I have enough time, because if it's depending if I have homework, because every go after I do my homework, I would get the chance to watch the 311 movie.
Well, if you do, just let you know it is the darkest and the most emotional, gripping, and at times.
And I heard that you may do another Ghost Train story, like in the future, about the Titanic, how Sodor.
Yes, I know. If you read about that, yes, I know.
And about how the new fell off the old Iron Bridge would be another creepypasta episode.
That was going to be the case, but that was, that went down the toilet, unfortunately, because of creativity differences, and it just didn't. At the time I had left the team I was with, but I've been I've been trying numerous times lately to remake my own version of Titanic visiting the island of Sodor, and I actually have done a good job recently.
And I've been, and also when I was like 11 years old, I made like a custom wooden railway Timothy the Ghost Train with some paper. But once, and I may do a remake on that custom, and then I would be able to show it on YouTube.
It's fine. Take your time with it, mate. Oh,
yeah.
Gustav, where are you? I don't know where Gustav's
And I heard that I saw that Thomas and Friends video of how Hasbro, this toy company, can fix Thomas and Friends, of how it can fix it, because Mattel really ruined our childhood, Thomas. That was like my number one all-time favorite childhood show.
Yeah, I hate Mattel with a passion.
Listen,
I'm not too
But
a big
imagine
fan of
if
them
how
either.
Thomas-
no. Listen, look, I wouldn't
Well-
say I wouldn't hate Mattel, but I do disapprove
But-
the direction they were in. Okay, not and
And just
not like
imagine
they were okay. And this is the cringiest thing about it is that Mattel has been around since the RWS was established, since the first book was released. So it makes me
what?
since
it's no joke. Yeah,
1945.
1945. That's when Mattel was a company. And I think to myself, I wonder who is the management now, who was the who did all that.
Chat, guys, in the private chat, James Tyler puts his opinion. Hashtag F Mattel. Good God Almighty!
I mean,
Yeah, it's
here's
like
If anybody said that on Twitter, Jesus Christ!
that which is why I don't do Twitter.
But just imagine if somebody.
well,
Why
I
did
still
it
have
suffer? Every
Twitter,
time I
and I
saw
also
that-
have TikTok too, and I also have Instagram, and I have some Thomas content on my TikTok, like a lot of them.
How
and I
cool would it
like
be if somebody
Discord
break the
too,
fourth- if somebody
and
broke
Deviant
the
Art
fourth
too.
wall using that hashtag right now? Like,
Oh, man.
remember that one
Yeah.
time in the Search for Smudger? Remember that one video in the Search for Smudger where Mike said something like hashtag something or whatever it was, Mike or whatever it was he was saying, and he broke the fourth wall?
Oh wow.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think I saw that scene.
Hang on, let me just go and find it here. This is gonna be quite fun actually. Because at the time, I thought the film Search for Smudger was good, and of course my film was in the top 3 with somebody else. Hang on, Search for Smudger. Oh, there it is. I think somebody. Hang on, where are you, pal? There it is. I think it's over here. Here we go. I found it. I think it's in this one here. God, this is good. Oh, back in 2014.
Yeah, I was like 10 years old in 2014. I was still watching
I
Thomas.
was 23 back then. Jesus Christ. And I was still.
That's like 8 years ago. Yeah.
I was like
Thomas used to be my
2014. I was
favorite, number one all-time favorite TV show in the entire world for like 17 and a half years. But then in 2021, when I realized how Mattel really ruined Thomas, and how it got changed to All Engines Go reboot, it's now Thomas and Friends is the classic series from seasons 1 to 7 is now in second place. And first place, which is my number one all-time favorite TV show now, is Disney's the 2020 animated series of The Owl House. Yeah, I like these LGBTQ couple characters with Amity, my favorite character of The Owl House.
Hey,
Okay.
the LGBT stuff thing is something we don't talk about on my servers, mate. It's something that I'm not strictly easy with, but I can see where you're going from. Okay, just letting you know. There was a white flag there waving there. Anyways, I think I found it. The bit where Mike broke the fourth wall. Now I'm thinking what James Starr just said. I'm thinking if anybody else could do it back then. Jesus Christ. Here we go. This is it here. If anybody remembers.
People in the special train, sir. I have decided to give that job to Rex.
Well, missed opportunity here, people. You're totally missing out on my bodacious hunk of metal right here. Why Rex? Why not me?
Rex's work has been outstanding this past couple of weeks. You, on the other hand, may have developed a negative reputation after that incident at the watermill last week.
It was those blasted coaches' fault. They pushed me. The nerve of some people. They're all jealous. I'm hot. They're not. They just need to deal with it. Tweet it, folks. Hashtag Molten Mike.
There it is. Look.
Molten Mike.
That's been
Oh,
I love EE393's voices, Mike. It's just
I know,
golden.
especially when
and also today's my dad Frankie's birthday. He's turning like 58 years old, meaning that he was born on August 8th of 1964.
Congrats, man.
Hashtag Molten Mike.
Yeah.
The good old
He's like my fitness personal trainer. Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine if somebody was named that in reality, Molten Mike, if that was your trainer, and that instead of that, what James just said, instead of that, you could have just said like F Mattel, tweet it, folks, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no shit, Bert. He said, yeah, more likely. Yeah, well, that was kind of creepy, as if he was listening to us.
We'll be waiting to welcome them to our railway.
I think they'll be creeped out by your simultaneous dialogue.
Yes, indeed. Well, they are twins after all. Blister
Yeah.
1 and Blister 2. Though we never got to see them in the books, which is a bit strange.
Aren't they like extended railway series characters or something?
Could be. That could be a factor. I don't know. But yeah, there it was when they brought the 4-4. That's kind of, you know, the idea I think I was just letting you know of.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, now you can see what I was referring to, what James said about the hashtag on the private chat. I thought that it reminded me of what happened when Mike broke the fourth wall.
Yeah.
I just had to show you that, mate. I mean, there's some really good stories that we're seeing again. NWO in 1991 is doing phenomenal. Like, at the time when I was getting into the fandom thing, I think he was like, I think he was more like the TVS reality of what we're living in this modern day world. Whereas Wild and Western was the modern day railway series at the time. And that's kind of
Yeah.
that's kind of how I was viewing it. Whereas Thomas 1 and 2 and 3 was like a mixture, possibly of the two. But
Wild Nor'Wester was a great content creator.
he still is. If it weren't for him, I mean, despite he and I have gone our separate ways, I think. Although he still likes what I say to him in terms of giving him credit where he really deserves it. Despite the fact he and I have gone our separate ways on social media, which is very sad because, he came to me first, with my good homemade Thomas music at the time. That, back in 2009 when he was just beginning his series, that's how I came to know him, and you can still hear it to this very day. As a matter of fact, I'll actually give you an example of just how good it was. Like, there was one scene I think I remember him using many, many times. Hang on. One of my favorites was the one that he did back in. Oh wow, the one he did 10 years ago. Yeah, back in the day. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's good to see what he's doing now, but even I couldn't have done what he was doing if I had trains at the time back then, like they were all doing. I probably would have had a franchise film, even though I didn't have trains when I was doing my own. I still, probably would have had something there. So I do feel like I missed out on something else, which is the reason why it's hard for me to want to do what I'd like to do. But, I think my passion as a film editor, which is what I wanted to be, kind of died out for the last couple of years. And since I've tried to rebound with writing and editing, it's just too much. Even for voice acting, that's the reason why I'm so limited with what I can do now. It's kind of upsetting because a lot of guys who were younger than I was have surpassed me, who have become better than I ever hoped. Like Victor Tanzik has dominated. Victor, Wild Nor'Wester has, he's the be-all and end-all of the Railway series. And there are those who have, that I wanted to be like, or who wanted to be like me or something like that. You get what I'm trying to say, lads? It's just so frustrating. And I'm trying to make a comeback with voice acting again. And guys like Liz and, Brandon and Victor and others, they've become, well, I wouldn't say household names, but they've become Thomas Fandom celebrities almost.
Yeah.
People ask me, I'm still recognizable with what I do, but I'm not like recognizable like they are anymore now. And I'm only recognized for, for the things they only want to remember me by. And that's just frustrating.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have the recognition I once had. Although my reception is one thing, but it's to be recognized as a human behind the camera first before you know me as I am on social media. It's so frustrating. It's been that way since the downfall, ever since the 311 film came out. And I know it's hard at times, but I'm still happy with what I did. It's just a shambles that all I worked with just left and just won't ever look at me the same way. It's as if, you know, a lot of people do feel like I changed the fandom for the best. If that was not intentional, then, you know, but then again, if that's what they would like to think, then, you know, that's their choice.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, people say I changed it for the best. But it's just that people expect me to do this, or they just ask me just to pee me off. And it's just, you know, one mistake and other things and everything else, and then you're just like, you know, they just don't want to know you. That's the reason why I've been a shell of who I've been. And that's really frustrating. But at the same time, if we can rebound and change our ways after what we've done, surely the Thomas fandom itself can, and look at where we are right now. We're in the right direction, we just got to keep the momentum.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons why I'm an active member. I just want to make sure that the fandom is in a good spot before I leave. I may not leave for like 10 years. I don't know.
I'm not going to leave the fandom, although I have said like I left, but I didn't technically leave. I just went into a different retirement. I left the fandom because of the toxicity on social media and all the shit that was going on. So I went into a preserved fandom.
Yeah. I mean, when I joined in, it was like it was before all that stuff happened. It was like 2015. But but when it got bad, I was like, well, what's there for fandom now? But considering it's getting somewhere in a better spot, not and it's at the very least, I can at least be there for that. And
It's just a lot of people do kind of say, and I do have to agree, 2015 was the peak of the fandom that we all knew and loved. And even Mattel were going in the same direction as we were. Like they finally got it together. Like 2016 was okay. They seemed to know what they were doing. And then come 2017, a lot of people say that's where it all started to go downhill again and didn't rebound since, if you know what I'm saying.
yeah, because I swear, Mattel just got cheaper and cheaper every year. it and it's on them. It's not our fault in any way.
Oh, no, but I do blame some people who take the fandom the wrong way. Not with the company, but with guys who do such great. Like I said, there are some users out there who have potential to do amazing talents, you know, to be creative in their creativity, which is always great. It's just the person behind the creativity is what leads to its downfall. And Mr. Rogers and Brandon, and of course, certain friends who I won't know, and of course, everybody else in the fandom will agree, who I'm trying not to mention, but as a perfect example, you know, and I'm just going to say it once. If you remember if you remember a certain user who made, you know, Alfred the Terrible Lonely Bee 12, those 3 films he was doing.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, him!
Yeah, that real.
That
Yeah.
big guy, yes, that big guy with the big red question mark we do not want to know of. You know, but still,
Yeah, I hate.
it's just an example of it, though. When you look back on the certain creativity and the special effects and everything else he had used, you know, that guy, we'll just say, he was just like, you know, superb, you know, one who looked up to me, one I was a big fan of, and I kind of tried to voice with. You could see the intention is there, but there were a few slip ups, like in Thomas's early days, that had, you know, his own reaction with Timothy involved, which was a head clip of what I was doing at the time. And then, as you know, those 3 films came out. You can see the intention of where it was going to go, and it was quite cool. Looking back on it now, there's no shame. It's just still enjoyable as long as you can muster up, you know, the resistance of just how not cringy, but how, you know, it's like, yeah, it's good, this and that, but at the same time, you can just look back on it on a laugh if you wanted to, just to pass the time, because it does have its moments. It's like with Superman Returns, you know, in 2006. It, you know, it had its moments, but its heart was not in the right direction. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm just glad there's still some like really good creators like Thomas Fan 8, if I'm saying his name right.
Who?
Thomas Fan 8, I think.
Yeah, you got it right.
Who I
Yeah.
don't remember his name. I don't. There's too many.
Well, he does like animations now. Just
I remember
animations.
his Secret Island film.
I actually have I try to keep playlists of all his stuff, especially with like the Secret Island and Thomas and Friends Jeopardy, which is still a favorite of mine.
Or what about
Oh
the?
my god, I nearly forgot about that one.
I've really forgotten about this YouTube user. Like, I need to go back and have a look if I can go back in time.
And I remember he made like a little commercial where he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna have Thomas French Jeopardy on like a DVD thing," and I was excited at the time, but of course I should have known that I mean, but it was a cool design he made for it. I gotta say it's really cool.
Hey, Tommy Trains.
Yeah, but then again, you'd have to deal with the licensing issues and.
Yeah, especially like.
What about Oh yeah, I've just remembered another guy. Enterprising Engine 93. He was just.
Yeah.
He's an icon in
Yeah.
voice dubbing, and how he does it without even using the actual strings or whatnot. He's evolved over the years, and look what he's doing. I mean,
yeah. I mean, he's really upped his game, man. He really makes some really great,
he was really
locations.
cool. Like he came in. I mean, he'll always be remembered
Hey,
as
Tommy Trains.
Smudger.
Hey guys,
Hey,
can I
Tommy
also
Trains.
say something?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of James Fan 1991?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, I remember watching his videos. He did. I have him on Patreon.
Oh damn!
Even though I'm
Speaking
17, but at least you have to be 18 on Patreon. I also know other users that I have on Patreon, like Ray Ryan 90, The Unlucky Tug, Thunderbolt 1000 Silent Productions, and History in the Dark, who talks about these terrible diesels that British Rail made. Yeah, you know them.
Does Patreon? Do you have to pay?
Yes, you do.
Yes,
Oh
you
my
do.
god, I don't even have that kind of money.
That's the reason why. I mean, I like patrons, but I'm not going to be willing to. They should do. If you want to be a patron, they should do like free as well. Like you can select. Like, do you want to be a patron or do you want to go in for free? You know what I'm saying?
Oh god, I don't have that money.
They should really.
Oh man. Oh, speaking about the fandom, since you guys are talking about it, I need to say this right now, but when I see uploads or community posts, people just seem to go. What's the word? They just pretty much like shit post, like saying, "Oh, you know what, guys, you suck." I don't know why.
Yeah.
Because it just makes me think, like, are they going through a mental breakdown when they see these kinds of uploads? It just really
could
shocks
be.
me.
Who
Are
knows?
they
I just don't know
like-
why they're doing like that.
I know. There are some guys who do that, and there are those who do it for fun or for humiliation. Or if you want to talk about breakdowns, I'll just say for fun here, because I think we're all laughing our heads off at this. Apparently, that guy who had his own breakdowns, you would think.
Yeah.
You mean Manchild 254?
No, I don't know.
No.
I apologize for saying his name.
I don't even know who the hell he is, to be honest, mate, but someone you know. But I'm referring to that guy who we will not mention, the one who people who think who was just as bad as I was, or the other way around.
Mm.
Oh, I see, Ghost. I see.
Yeah, I didn't put his full name, but
much better.
The main.
That guy, yes, that's who I'm referring to again. But still,
Yeah, that's
he
the one I
basically
was referring to, but I
sounds
didn't say his name like that.
yeah. But
People
it's
call
like-
him a man-child like that.
No, that's sort of no.
I
Sorry.
swear, his whole friggin' like meltdown. That meltdown.
I was very disturbed by his meltdown, and I just felt bad for him.
He
I didn't.
screamed. He was just rage. He was raging.
I did not know that did happen because I didn't know that things would go downhill.
It's not just
Considering
downhill.
ever since 2021 and 2022, when I pretty much every night when I log off the internet and I had to go to sleep, I cannot stop thinking the negativity that it's bringing me depression. I couldn't even stop thinking.
Hey, Tommy,
tried
that's exactly what I was going through for the last 2 years, and even before then. You just never know. When you're asleep, you don't know what's going on there. When you're logged out, you don't know what the hell's going to happen. Which is the reason why it can be a bit scary.
I'm still disturbed from after the Nick Starwin's 3.5 video because I think I was pissed from what he was saying.
Who?
Nick Starwin,
I
never heard of him.
the guy who actually pretty much made the missing coach videos.
him. I don't know who he
That
is.
guy?
Yeah.
That guy. That's just, sorry, that's just getting stuck in my head. And I was like, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. Oh, we don't like we
Wait, you don't like him?
we like Diesel. We don't like you. You
Really?
you-
Really?
Like, I don't. You do. I don't. You do.
I swear.
No, go
The things that the engines
I
believe.
feel like in George Carlin's narration. But I'm more of a Michael Angeles guy. I just can't believe we lost Angeles. He was like my third all-time favorite person in the entire world because
That was a few
he did
years
so
ago.
much. He did a whole
Yeah.
pack series. He
Yeah.
did like a lot of Thomas movies, including all the Nitrogen Air movies. Like, even though he was going to be in The Great Discovery, but Pierce Bronson as the narrator was a stupid idea. Pierce Bronson for the narrator of The Great Discovery was a stupid idea because he was putting people to sleep. Because the difference is between Bronson, he keeps me awake. He puts me to sleep, and also Michael Brandon, he keeps me awake. I learned that from Thomas Fan 261's Tom's Narratives Ranked videos.
To me,
I'm
I
just
thought it
fine
was
with,
quite refreshing having Pierce Brosnan.
like that. I
Yeah,
mean,
and also
Hey, shut
Michael
that racket up,
Brandon,
Pavarotti!
sometimes
Having her
he-
worst scene since Pierce Brosnan.
I'm pretty much
Yeah,
disturbed by
Pierce
this.
Bronson is the true worst Thomas narrator because he literally puts everyone to sleep in the Great Discovery movie. He was going to do seasons 12 to 14, but thank God he didn't. He also did the
From what
James
I
Bond
heard, I
film.
heard rumors the reason why he left was because maybe the change through the CGI, something like that.
Yeah, it was. That's what
Damn.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
Speak-
and we can see our faces, Kingpin 7-1.
Oh, you're black. What's up, bro? I don't
Yeah.
mean to be racist. I
No, I'm
apologize.
not.
Whoa.
I'm mixed with Asian and Ukrainian.
Wait.
Sorry,
And my
sorry,
mom is Ukrainian. Wait,
sorry. I
Sorry.
apologize.
apologize to-
Robert Johnson just said that. Look in the chat.
Wait, what?
I'm
Let me ch-
oh
And also with Michael
I'm
Brandon.
still disturbed.
He,
Who
the
the
reason
hell
why
is that
Michael
guy? I don't even
Brandon,
know him.
He, even though he's like the longest U.S. Thomas narrator, but that doesn't mean he's well complicated. Because the reason why it's because with Renee's, he was too nasal like this. How am I going to show the judges to make them really special?
Okay,
Oh,
he's
is
not
it
most
Gordon?
definitely
Too
acting up.
rough. Not me. Never,
Kind of Mr.
never. Everyone
Yeah,
see me.
I-
Look at
it,
the
it
ring.
really has
Oliver,
changed,
to Western
and
America.
I can't like
Oh,
Like, Brandon did
Yes.
Oliver like this. I'm a
Okay,
great
chill.
agent. I shouldn't have to shift. He could have sounded in a British accent instead of that Western accent because it makes zero sense. It
Okay.
makes
Okay,
zero
we
sense.
get it, we get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, there's this question that really pondered me about the future in the fandom.
What would that be?
Considering, from the brownies, since the show ends and then they're still going. I know I already asked someone in videos, but if the show ends, will the fandom still continues?
I think it will. Regarding trains, and the trains fandom is pretty much what keeps the fandom, I think, because we have our own creativity. But
Yeah.
don't know what would happen then.
I mean, the new merch with what they did with Wooden Railway isn't bad, but
Oh, that's good.
I mean, the
Okay.
fate.
They still don't have it in my place. I really want to get one of those.
I
think it's
I-
okay.
I almost
Speaking of-
wanted, like, whenever they
I actually
started,
got one of them.
whenever they
in
first
my
released
place-
them, I was gonna buy some, but then again, I was all into like the '90s and the early 2000s merch.
Yeah,
So-
nostalgia will always win.
The merch in my place, we actually still have like one of those ridiculous colors of Advent push
Hey,
alongs.
Here's the thing I was telling you about. Wild in the West was really good when we were good friends, in 2009. And then, as you see, I'm just going to show it you here. Here's one of the stuff he did when he used one of my favorite homemade Henry themes I made. I made about a few versions at the time. Here's one of them. Again, I still can't believe we broke the fourth wall when I showed you. When again, thanks to James Stalio down below, who we said in the chat, I couldn't resist putting that thing where Mike broke it in. It was just too hilarious. Yeah, you missed that Tommy Trains. You need to rewatch that because me and Rogers and the others.
Yeah, I just woke up at 6:40 because
Oh, good morning, man.
Yeah, thanks.
You feel ahead? Here's what we got here. Look at this. If you listen carefully.
Oh yeah.
If you listen carefully, you can actually hear my theme song of Henry playing in the background, which is what Wild Northwester was using at the time.
He pulled out. Okay. He wanted to attract as little attention as possible.
Listen carefully.
Cheer up, Henry, his driver said as they got underway.
There it is.
Oh yeah, that one. What's your music for use?
The express coaches came along smoothly, and Henry was soon cruising along the line. To be honest, he had been getting bored over the last couple of days, cooped up in the works. It felt good to stretch his wheels again. In fact, he was enjoying himself so much that he soon forgot he was painted red.
Yeah, that's my version of his theme playing.
Damn.
Right.
Yeah, I like the old 2012 version of Trains. I mean, for the nostalgia that it brought, I like this.
Oh, it is that this was in but like I said, that there you heard that's my version 2 of his theme playing, and you can still find it on my channel. If you ever guys want to use any of my old music content, you're more than welcome to if you wanted to, Gusta.
Damn.
If you'd like to, like I said.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's still recognized to this very day still, which is really good. Oh, there's Michael. Nice to see you, chap. Yeah, there was just so many good stuff that was being shown. That's just an example of what Wild Northwester was doing back in the day, in the early years, back when my music was very popular. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think that's fine as it is. I do remember the one I remember him using a lot was my post-train theme, which was quite popular. Don't know why. He used it quite a lot. Anyways, guys, like I said, I can only imagine where the film's going to go from here. But I do know we're in the right direction, and we can see great new talent. There's hardly any negativity about it. And to be quite honest, I wouldn't say we're in for a bright future, but I do know that we're in the right direction, and hopefully we can get that momentum keep going, because I'm liking where we're heading at this point.
Yeah, especially with the with Gen A, who started in 2012. Considering they're still kids and what they're watching nowadays, I mean, it's great that we're still here.
Yeah, more like yikes. As what's his name, who voiced Greg in Sound 1, he voiced in a separate Trains from Iron Horse or wherever it was, or High Iron, I think it was, and he said something like, he watched the original series because he was intrigued about how the railways was, just like we all did. But when his cousin or his brother watched the modern day version, it's yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was, I was against the CGI. I was very much against it. So, which is why I didn't watch
it. It's as far as I'll go. But if you want to look at the quadruple, that's double, triple, or quadruple yikes.
For me, I like using I like model trains and just how they build, and how people make their layouts, with all the detail and all that work they put into it. I like how they in that side of things. Though I like trains, which is animation. So I don't know.
I like dancing.
No.
I like trying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I would be making some Thomas model, some Thomas videos in the future, like more Thomas stories if I try get more money at my 2 part-time jobs. Jobs later this year.
That's probably that is probably a good point. That's probably that was due in 2015.
Oh
And
yeah, I
also,
love that.
especially
Yeah, and also like
especially
me
everyone's
making
talking about
Thomas.
the famous Sodor's
Once I
Legend
get a
of the
new
Lost
computer, I
Treasure.
may make
Oh,
one of
good lord!
I may do some Thomas movies, and I hope you would most likely to be in my movie, one of my movies with Presidential '93, Tom, Miss One, Edward Timothy, and Victor Tanzig. Number try to invite my friends Drift King, aka 0311, who also likes Thomas, and also he also loves My Life as a Teenage Robot too.
Oh, good
He knows
lord!
me from
I've never seen that show, but it's like famous. Well,
Okay,
consider it.
Gusto, I've joined in with your
Right.
with your thing. I'm just looking around to see who's who and see who I can make friends with and who can we hang around with.
Yeah, be all the boys here in this Discord server of mine. The people I've known since 2020, and they're all
There are a
they're all
couple
good
of,
people. They're all good, even though some of them are definitely younger than us. But hey, they got talent, and it's
yeah, well,
incredible.
just be wary that there are some in there I've just noticed who may not want to be around me. You know what I'm saying? So keep a lid on that.
same
Yeah,
thing.
of course. Yeah.
Because if any kid that anyone who is like 7 or who is still in elementary, because I'm in high school, and sometimes high school
I'm in
will
senior
allow us
high.
to make videos that contain language. And if any people from elementary school watch one of my videos that contain language, then I will tell them to get at. Then I should put a warning
yeah.
sign.
Yeah.
I've been
Plus,
noticing like
I've had to deal with a few kids that were just annoying and not really, being respectful, and I've had to kick and ban before. But
Yeah, and
there's
also
some where, yeah.
I used to be like one of those kids in the past, but when I had my redemption, I noticed you got one of my friends about how not to act like a kid and be spam and troll.
Yeah, that's something we don't tolerate in the fandom.
It's like how Sasha from
I've had
MJ has had her redemption about trying not to be so hard, and how she used to be a mean girl, Karen, and then when her character development changed, when she had got her new haircut with her hair down, she became a hero and saved Marcy, her friend Marcy, with her friend.
Hey, Gusto, I can hear something in the background. What are you playing?
I just heard like a chicken like clucking.
It's one of my dumb videos that I made when I was just
Oh my god.
there were periods in my life where I just made just the dumbest videos out of boredom, but they're still funny to me.
I mean, yeah, they might
Yeah.
be there, but back then you'd be like, what the heck did we just make?
Yeah.
For its time was good. Yeah, for its
Oh,
time.
you want to see some cringe? I got a really interesting
Oh,
concept.
God.
But believe it, it's nothing bad. It's very much comedic to me in a way. Let me see. Let me share this. This will be fun. All right, here it is. Okay, so this is what happens when you got a new mic and you got your wind trains in the scene. Here we go.
Well, boss my buffers.
Not too bad for a mic,
Yeah. Oh, it gets interesting.
and not bad for a HD cam as well.
Man, I wish I could have like an old style Thomas wooden railway.
Yeah, the mic that I got it from like a Best Buy and just started doing that.
I think what you were doing was just testing your mic out. We'd all do that.
I think I
I
must
would have
show
done.
you
Oh, wait, and here's what else I put.
Now, if someone said that, people would be thinking, why on earth are you jerking Thomas off on a wooden track?
Yeah.
You see, that's my Thomas and
I see
wouldn't
him.
realize Thomas Pot. Tired out of Puff Thomas from 1997.
Man, you guys get the good
And this is the
stuff. I just get the fake
2001.
stuff.
Yeah, let me get to the good stuff. I know I got stuff.
Oh, I
Man, it
see.
sounds like a very disturbing 18+ videos.
Don't say that. Hey, Tommy,
But-
let's not go there.
Sorry.
But
Sorry.
The thing is, like, no one else really does ASMR.
And I have the 2003 Thomas the Tank Engine.
I had
And
like
got
3 of
one
those,
the
but I keep
Ferris
destroying
Thomas and
them.
Friends items. This, the red metallic James.
Oh, I know someone has that.
It's
He's
extremely expensive. I know James is here.
I'll admit that's probably the best version of James, period. He looks really good.
This is pretty much what people are calling the other red engine from the Railway series.
Yeah,
Eagle.
exactly. Winston.
It's
or
like
Eagle.
$80.
Oh,
I
pretty-
spent $80 on this.
Well, they are brothers after all.
Bam.
I actually remembered reading comments on the whistles and sneezes that people complaining that is confirmed that was a mistake,
is.
that was James with red wheels.
No, that is actually Winston. We saw it at the end of Gordon's video, and we saw him making a cameo appearance in Henry Hayes' new shaping whistles and sneezes. So,
And
it's
I'm planning on making this BNSF best wooden railway
It
train.
looks
I'm
like
gonna try to
the
make
train
a
from
custom
Unstoppable.
And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna try to custom make it, and I have to
now here's something I'd like to
do
show you
it
guys.
because I
This
did
is
it with
me doing
paper,
my
and I'm going to redo
This is me
it.
doing my narration at the time when I was really getting into it. I was trying to sound like an old
Ringo
British
Starr.
star. Like I was trying to sound like Ringo Starr, but a bit of Darth Vader in there when I was doing Gordon. This is kind of like how I would sound like if I was narrating, if you know what I'm saying.
I'm gonna try to
Is your lights off?
impersonate Ringo Starr.
Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, at the
Oh,
time I did this, I had a
We
better
live to the
voice.
big station on the island of Sybil.
I had a very
Actually,
better
I-
voice at the time.
6 more wheels.
The guy
Salt,
who
stumpy
did
bun,
the recording in
salt,
this,
stumpy
the-
boil, and a short,
Hazo,
stumpy dough.
he had trains at the time, and we were doing like a test. We couldn't do the project because we counted it, but we did this test thing of how my voice would sound like. But I was just getting into it, and this is what it would sound like. Here we go.
Edward and Gordon often went through the tunnel where Henry was shut up.
I mean,
Oh, yeah, that
Kind of.
classic voice. Yeah.
I've never seen it. Though.
And Gordon
Is that
would say,
recent?
"Serves you right."
Serves you right. That's just
Poor Henry had no steam to answer.
Oh my god, it sounds darker.
Hang on, just listen carefully.
Gordon would say, "Serves you right." Poor Henry had no steam to answer. His fire had gone out. The window from the tunnel had spoiled his lovely green paint and red stripes. He was cold and unhappy and wanted to come out and go to the hill. Gordon always paused the wild Nor'wester. He was proud of being the only Indian to do it. There were many heavy cases full of important people.
Hang on, guys. I'm sorry about all this, but hey, Gus, is that you doing that, or was that you, Roger?
I'm not doing anything.
I'm just looking for the oldest Thompson Friends Ertl item. It's just the Edward. Trying to
Sorry about
Oh,
this, mate. I was going to have to mute you for a second because it is quite loud because they were trying to listen to my narration. Here we go. We'll just try that again.
Yeah,
I mean, I already heard it. It's just fine.
I wasn't sure anybody
But
else
it just
did.
sounds distorted.
Sutton dirt
Here we
from the
go.
It
tunnel
sounds
had
distorted.
spoiled his lovely green paint and red stripes. He was cold and unhappy and wanted to come out and pull trains too. Gordon always pulls the wild Nor'wester.
This is the oldest Thompson Friends Ertl item that I have. The 1989 Edward that I have. One of my cousins, Benji, gave it to me because he doesn't need it because I had to I'm nowadays using this to make YouTube videos out of this.
Okay. You can see
Isn't the
that.
1985 Erdl kind of rare with the
This is
sticker
an
faces?
1989 version.
That's
I
the
have
one
like
I've
a-
still got.
I have a
Mine's
19.
passed it up.
Ancient.
I actually have the sticker face, Henry, with the
I got a
with the
bunch
white
of, like,
running.
Ancient,
have
just like a dinosaur from 1 million to billions of years ago.
You got the coaches. Bill could see that Harry John was in front. In a minute, Harry whispered the news, looked through, and out
Oh,
of
yeah,
the
that's
open again. Closer and closer he became. He was almost there when Gordon was in a cloud of steam and going slower and slower.
Yeah, as you can
Oh,
tell.
I just noticed the old tender that Gordon has. I like
Yeah,
that.
Gordon's original look.
I like that.
Well, boss,
was
my
basically how it
buffers,
was
what
back
would the
then, how
fat
it would
controller
speak.
say about me?
That's just how it was.
The only voice that I've learned to be able to do is Ari and Bert, which some would consider them very intimidating whenever they talk. But because I like
I'm trying-
quoting like some of the Stepney.
I'm trying to
about
replicate James's voice like Michelangelo's, but I can't do it because it sounds Irish. Listen to this. Hello there, me wee lads. I'm James the Red Engine. It's nice to see you lot. Considerating I might be a famous Red Engine, but considerate I don't simply give a damn though. Even though Gordon's a big an ass, but
Sounds more like Scottish
literally
Irish.
I'm the better engine than him. Don't ever judge me,
Irish.
you fucking wankers.
It'll be Irish, but
I
the thing is,
apologize.
when I do Donald, I always call them Donnie and Dougie because I don't because
Yeah, sometimes that's I do the same thing.
Hi, Donald and Dougie, what are you doing over there?
Hey,
Who's
don't
only
you-
picking up
Don't
mess?
mess with me, lad.
Look what I
Considerate
made.
and I don't know what you're doing.
I see
Drawing
him.
of Gordon the big engine.
Nice.
Whenever I do my area burst, it's like I'll try.
Here's my I know I did some really good trailers back in the day, but at the time this one was the best one I did. If you guys remember, if any of you guys can remember this one was my best trailer when I was doing the Timothy movie back in the day. Here we go.
Ah, yes.
The second one.
There are so many
Oh, that
stories
music.
told. Some have good endings, others don't. While others end shrouded in mystery. There was one story in particular that has just that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, but that was kind of the idea that got me into doing the voice of Timothy. And what you guys don't even know that was originally how it was going to sound like before I went even deeper.
Oh, nice.
It still sounds the same like in your movie.
Yeah, but much darker. Except this was just a testing I was doing, and I'm not gonna lie. But when I said the first 21 seconds, as you saw in there, was probably the hilarious parts I ever did. I didn't even have any script. I just said it full born.
Damn. God damn the music, bro.
Long ago,
The bear.
an engine once worked in Tokyo. But after a tragic accident, he has haunted the railway ever since.
He has returned from the dead and runs once more.
Yeah.
They see
It's unlike how Jesus rose from the dead, but this is a different one, but more demonic with Timothy.
But this is no ordinary ghost train.
Derek?
What's his purpose? And what is his sole intent of continuing haunting the island of
It was made on December 12, 2014.
Find out when the untold story of this locomotive is finally revealed.
Not gonna lie, but my eyes rolled at the
The
back.
railway
of my
has a
head.
hidden legend that no one
Yeah,
ever
and
knew.
this was like
Please no jump scare. Ghost Train.
Is there a
The
jump scare?
Untold Story of Timothy.
That's right. It just brings me like memories of when YouTube was
Oh.
good.
Beware for his coming.
Oh,
Oh my god. What was that black thing on Timothy's forehead?
I think that's
That's
his
the eyebrows.
I think that's his unit.
You know
Those were his
the
eyebrows. Back when I was just giving him his face back.
Oh, it's unlike how it has a uni eyebrow just to make it like
That was I didn't know I was doing it at the time. That was actually the first time we see the red eyes. So he's
yeah.
I thought Timothy
like
had some sort of hole in his forehead like that.
don't worry about that.
I like when he looks like in his shadow form when he's like almost
Almost.
invisible, but like when he's all in black, but like
Yeah.
but I like that skin.
Wherever it's gone, I can only imagine.
the video trailer that we watched was
Can
made
I
like
show something?
for 12.
Hang on.
That was like one the last Amtrak HHP diesel electrical locomotive number 653 was taken out of service because they were problematic. Considered one of the boys checked over. I saw that from History in the Dark. Those fans went around.
Yeah, there's a couple of these delayed scenes if you haven't noticed. That didn't make it
Yeah,
your
I remember seeing that video by Sam, someone whose OC
Yeah,
was
that was-
Thomas.
when he had more, into it. Just didn't work out.
So you've sensed my presence.
Someone's trying to mimic my voice now. Die.
I've also enjoyed your videos about the early engines from the 1930s or 1915s, like that, like Neil, Lily.
Yeah, back in the
and then
archive
Timothy.
days.
Neil was one of the first engines to arrive on the Soda because those three box 040 box tank engines
We don't
steam
know the other
locomotives,
two engines.
they were one of the oldest engines, and the second oldest was Neil, and the first and third ones their names are unknown to this day, but we still need to come up with their names. So they'll be actually
Why not
revealed.
just use the common names they have been given, Clive and Matthew?
I call
Clyde.
him Neil, Clive, and Roger.
Yeah, Clyde and Roger.
Roger
Is
West.
it really?
Also, Clyde is actually the first engine to arrive on Soda because he was actually S&M 040 box tank engine steam locomotive number 1. And why would they scrap those 3 engines? I mean, they should have preserved like all 3 of them, and they would have been in excursions.
Anyways, guys, there's
Well,
one trailer
considering
that was good. At the time, this didn't work out. Hang on. So about this, lads, I'm losing my it's having a problem with my connection here. Hang on. Sorry. Here we go. I think I'm gonna wrap this up very soon, but don't worry, we've got a bit of time left. It's just so I've got a few more things to show, and then we'll be done. But we've had a good stream with this. But like I said, I do feel the fandom is in the right direction. Sometimes we can learn from the past of the good times and try and improve what we could have done.
Yeah.
Like I said, Guster, if you want me to do it, I'll be more than happy to do any voicing for you, because I'm still trying to rebound in doing that for your channel if you want to.
Yeah, I might take you up on that. I'm gonna have to look through the scripts and try and pick
Don't
one.
worry, I can just give you some like demos of my voicing, or do a random thing for you, and then you can just like edit it out and just put into doing tests of your videos by using my voice in there if you'd like to, just to kind of get your fans happy, just to help you out.
Here, let me check through the scripts. I have them all compiled into
No,
one.
Yeah, but I mean, I can just do like a random voice test for you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, of course.
I'll just send it to you.
Yeah.
Here we go. There's one trailer that was okay for its time during the Clinchfield thing before I did the other bits and bobs. And then, this was at the time the first official trailer, but it was like one of the early ones I was doing at the time. When an old friend of mine did this for me, who I cannot say anymore, but at the time this was kind of a good sequel to it.
Man, I enjoy this was one of the best films that I've ever seen. Because I remember when this was just starting to
become a big thing. I know a lot of people were wondering at the time. I mean, the trailers were hard to do. Yeah. All I did was the audio, and they just had to put the film stuff over the audio to match what I was saying. Anyways,
The island of Sodor has had many stories and legends being told, but there are those far beyond its reach.
I'm not gonna lie to you, but the narrating in this was a bit better. I just did this without writing, it's just full born. Yeah, this again was like a reference to when I said the words, there are those far beyond its reach. That was a reference to beyond us and Sodor combined.
On its reach.
I don't know, this still sounds the same.
Across the sea, there is another story. One that is very famous and most known to everyone. It happened up in the mountains on a former railroad that CSX transportation now runs. For nearly 60 years, the story has been told time and time again. It happened when an engine met an unexpected tragic fate. Few people have witnessed it, let alone lived
That was
through it.
foreshadowed.
Yeah, basically it was to resemble a guy that wasn't supposed to be you-know-who, but a innocent victim who died at the hands of you-know-who. Like, those who've seen it, let alone lived to tell it. That was what you saw there.
It is said that when it starts to rain and the fog rolls in, if you hear a bell or a whistle, you better shut your eyes and try to block out the sound. However, if you see the ghost engine, just remember, you cannot run, you cannot hide. You will be found, but will never live to tell the tale.
Was that the exact same Volkswagen that he left the evil manager to rot?
What will become of the railway when this ghost engine finally sneaks out to take those that it wants? No one knows who will be targeted. It could be anyone. Will you know? Find out when this unknown loco invades Sodor and begins to spread its curse all over the railway.
Yeah, that was back in the day when I was really building this story up to be something much darker than you would think.
Yeah, there was one film I did that was called well, I could have named it something different, but it was an Alfred and James film, and the guy that voiced Alfred, he did better than I could ever do. Like, his voice was like incredible. Like, here I'll let you hear him
Was it
talk.
Darth Vader 13?
Nope, it was someone who could really peep. It's a similar voice, but it sounded better in my head whenever. But I don't know. I'd show you the whole film, but I know it's 14 minutes. I don't know if you have enough time to watch the whole thing, but I might just get to the. Here, let me get to one of the scenes where it's
a goods train.
Let me see.
Goods.
Good.
Dude, who the hell is that?
Oh, the guy that does Gordon is the first. Oh, you want to here? Let me show you. It's a good film. It has
I'm the most prestige engine.
But yeah, here. Let me. And this is when Tommy was still big on the channel, and I got these awesome little figurines there.
James arrived pulling a goods train.
Goods trains. Agreed. I want to pull more express trains. Well, little James, you just aren't as big and strong as me. Oh,
Sounds more like a younger Gordon than Alfred.
But this one right, that's supposed to be Alfred. But of course, whenever my audience watched it, they were like, at first they're like, "Who is that? That's not Alfred." But it is because of his face. The problem is the original Alfred I had made out of a Donald, I made back into Donald, so all I have is his face left. But my favorite scene is where it's a night scene in the music.
Waiting for his passengers. but there was none. So the guard blew his whistle, and Gordon chuffed away.
I guess people
Man,
decide
that whistle.
to drive
Actually,
tonight.
that was all I would have had I not,
Gordon raced down the main line.
The music I put in there, it's unreal how it all came together. But let me get to
I got an old friend of mine. Hey there, Chris. Nice to see you, pal. I'm doing really good. I've got a friend of mine in the chat here who knows me by my Undertaker cosplay and wrestling. Nice to see you, Chris. It's the first time you saw me in my stream. That's brilliant. Oh, fun.
Damn.
Yeah, that was quite unexpected. That's very nice to see him. Hold on. Yep, that's definitely him. Nice. Glad to see him. Yep. First time you appear on my stream as well, Chris. It's nice to see you. Yeah, he's a very old friend of mine. First time he's been on my streaming.
Good for you, Lord.
Well, I didn't know he was there. I forgot, and it's good to see him now. You see what my mates are too. That was quite unexpected. Either way, like I said, there would have been a lot of good stuff coming in. There was one thing I did do back in the day. I do unfortunately have the I think I do, but I think it was an unused version of what would have been the Weeping Engine. I think the only evidence I've got is the audio. If I can find where it was. This is the only thing I had left. Just bear with me, guys. Let me just check. I know I've got it here somewhere. Is this it? Let me double check. Ah, there it is. I think this is it. Yeah, this is what's her name? If you remember, there was a female actress who I knew who was very good, who did the demon voice of 311. Madison Girls 36, 736, or whatever her name was. Yeah, and yeah, she unfortunately, she was a very good actress, and she did a hell of a good job on what would have been, what would have been for the next thing that would have happened had I'm just going to say the voice testing, and this is what it might sound like. First off, I've got to see how it plays first. Like, this would have been like for the next trailer, if you know what I'm saying. But it never came to me, sadly. But at least I've still got the audio. But this is what I'll see what it sounded like first. Hang on. Let me see if this worked. Oh. Oh, it does work. Hang on. Oh. There's just like a sound effect in here. Yes, there is.
I can hear owl.
Okay, yep. Just make sure I got the volume up. Oh, there we go. I've got it. Yeah, that there you heard would have been the weeping engine.
Damn.
Hang on, let me just play it. There we go. Like the audio I did there, this is like at night time. That's the engine's whistle.
I have seen many souls on this island.
That's Penny talking.
Who have loved,
Same.
who are not alone.
Same actress who did 311.
I truly do. Seeing them now, it makes me feel empty, even more than I am now. For they have gotten so close to me. I had lost it, and now I cannot find it.
Damn, that's definitely like a sad angel locked in jail.
Even after we said we would never abandon each other. Was it because we were undeserving of it? Was it because destiny wanted to shatter our hearts out of enjoyment? Was it because he was right about you? He's wrong. They're all wrong. They say they know you, but they haven't even scratched the surface of who you are, of who I am. I know you're still out there, and I know you will remember me because I remember you. Your voice, your smile, your laugh. Just give me one sign of where you are, and I will find you. I will put an end to our sorrow. I promise. I love you, Timothy.
Wow.
That was
It's amazing.
Yeah, it was very, very good. Like
That was basically the voice test of the weeping engine.
you know this brings up that I can't remember who made this, but there was one about a tunnel where it was the it had Adam and two other engines, Lily. Adam,
Oh, you mean the what was it called?
There was some about a tunnel. I can't think of. It's whenever I look it up, I try to think tunnel or some like.
Yeah, what you heard there, that was the same voice actress who did the Demon 311, and she would have been the voice of Penny had I not given the character back. But that's the only surviving thing we got. That would have been the voice lover of Timothy's original lover.
Really? Trains in Love?
Well, there was a dark romance that we had at the time.
Damn.
It would have been the key. And when he said about he was wrong about you, spoiler alert, she was referring to the old controller.
Oh.
One
Nice.
who, yeah, that and everything else. It would have been a, yeah. That's why I'm still figuring out what to do with my own female character for Timothy. Like, he does remember in his past he does have a former lover, and it's not this one, it's somebody else. And then later on, you know, he had another one who survived with him to this day, but I can't say.
Damn.
But what if? But if he had his first lover, before his crash, before he met his other one, which didn't last. What if I were to tell you, and I hate to say it, but what if you were like, revealed to be the lover of an engineer only had half a face?
Really?
Just
I
think
don't.
about it. What if that had been his first lover?
It kind of disturbs me.
Like the only engine he knew and could understand. And then after this and that, and then what if, and then after that happened, Timothy found somebody else at the end when he was so convinced the half engine was dead. This is something in the new canon that I'm writing about. Like he knows something that they didn't do. Like he was the only sympathized engine. It's just something that came to my mind. And then after that, Timothy found somebody else. And then I'm still working on who it could be, but yeah, it gives you an idea of what he had endured.
Are you thinking of another E2OC?
But basically, Timothy did find another lover before his near-death disaster in my new canon. Just haven't given her a name yet.
What are you like? The siblings or another lover of another engine?
All I can say, it's definitely someone who belongs to. All I can say, it's definitely one of Percy's siblings. That's all I'll say.
Percy, of course.
But it's someone who's older, probably the oldest than Percy himself.
Yeah.
So the mystery deepens at this point. And the good thing I can tell you is that they're still alive. Like they both barely survived their own crashes each. Oh, Joseph Smith's here. Nice, long time no see, pal. That's one of your mates, isn't it, Gusta?
Oh yeah, that's my best pal. Known him for so many years.
Well,
So
maybe
many years.
the next time I'll stream, he can pop in with you, and then we'll see where we
Yeah.
go from there.
Because I saw that he was coming in a bit late and that you're already in
I
there.
know.
But yeah.
Like I said, I know that's the first time I've played that audio in years. But yeah, that would have been the voice dubbing at the time of what would have been,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure what you guys would have thought had you heard the voice.
That's it. That brings back that I can just picture it in my head. It just
Me too.
Because when I hear like an audio, like my imagination just goes wild.
The only thing I can help you with is that it was definitely at night time and it was somewhere far beyond in an unknown location, like a remote location. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah.
And when it was like no sound at the time, that was like, it would have been like flashbacks or whatever.
To the past from the good times.
Yeah.
It gives me this gives me an interesting idea. And this is just a thought. Like what if there were scrapped engines that were never or engines that their souls were gone, but their bodies were still lined up, but they get possessed and they do unspeakable acts of just trying to have revenge against British Railways or something. I don't know. But the thing is, they would be like, they wouldn't know who did it because they would get back in the lineup and that they wouldn't be found until one certain engine finds out whether it's whoever I put in. I don't know. I'm all about horror, even though I'm all more about comedy than other genres currently.
We understand.
But I just think they should probably use scrapped engines for like a film. That'd be something different. Plus, I mean, all the ghost stories that they've told in the TV series, all different ones, of course. Though I prefer like Edward's one where they used a Donald that was searching for the lost whistle.
That was quite
Oh, you mean
cool.
Edward's ghost engine like that?
Yeah, I felt they could have built up on that. I'm surprised no one has ever made a
No.
fanfic about that.
Well,
What
we have seen some customized models of it back in the past, so to give you an idea what it may have looked like.
and plus I saw it
Hmm.
on a Roblox game, but then they took it down, and I was like, "Aw." I won't be able to. Plus, I don't have a spare engine to make it if I wanted to. It all depends.
Well, with me, I always felt like I thought that engine was the reason why the Slender engine exists.
Well, yeah, because the
Oh,
Slender engine looks like Donald and Douglas.
Yeah,
But
that's what I mean. So I'm
they
thinking,
also
could there
use
be a connection?
a tank engine for Slender engine.
oh, really? I didn't know that. When did that come about? I don't.
Slender engine was like created by Diesel D199.
Well, yeah, I know that. Yeah, I didn't realize it
That's
was a
quite
tank
interesting.
engine. But
That was my first encounter of the Slender Man.
Same here.
I
Yeah.
remember like playing a video game when I first started hearing about Slender Man, and let me tell you, the game's just scared like the living daylights out of it. It's I do not want to be near that guy. More or less being in his way, or even get in any way like being in an abandoned mine shack or at someone's or at his house or picking up all the pages, and then you look behind, you're like, oh my god, he's right there.
I
Well,
just kind of just laugh my head off nowadays, but back then I was like, holy yeah, I just like, what the hell was this all about? An engine with no face. I'm like, what the hell?
the faceless engine, and especially when Diesel D199 made a video where when Thomas crossed the Vickerstown Bridge or
Oh
down into
yeah,
where he lost his yeah
Yeah,
when he became an
yeah.
inanimate
Something about
object.
Audrey's rule is that faces are only allowed in Sodor, but not anywhere else, which apparently goes around in the fandom's mysteries like that.
I didn't realize that was a rule at first. I didn't know.
Apparently, there was a video by Taillamp Studios and Scrapyard Studios because there's a
Yes,
mystery:
yeah.
how can engines gain faces when they go to Sodor?
Oh, because yeah, Scotsman never had a face until he went to yeah.
well, until we saw him in the books, he did have one.
Well, yeah. When they went to the
Yeah.
when Thomas went to the uh that railway show that I can't remember what it was called. It was
Thomas and the
called
Great Railway Show.
yeah, that yeah.
I just want to show something.
What will that
Like,
be?
I want to show you guys something. Kane, remember this one? I don't know if you can see
Yes,
it.
I remember this very, very well.
Originally, I was going to make a video about this one, about Timothy looking at his reflection, going into the sheds where he's in the underworld. And I was originally going to have like a flashback basing on your movie, considering that Timothy regrets about his past mistakes, reflecting like yours. And the video, it's supposed to be like a music video playing Mio's Wind's Wreck music, where Timothy regrets his past like that. And he
The
just
thing
looks
we all
in his reflection like that.
that is quite clever, though. I will have to say, like, take you that was
I was
inspirational.
originally going to make this in a video form, but it didn't came, so I didn't get around making it. So I just
I'm
decided to
not
make
sure
this image.
if you'd like to, you can always find me on DA anyway, so I can find you and have a look.
You can also, I mean, I also made some stuff in my DeviantArt. Like that.
Yeah, but I face never-ending harassment on there, unfortunately. Jesus.
I also made the Reverend Wilbert Audrey.
Nice.
I was
Uh,
originally going to find a book, but I decided to go for smoke.
Yeah, I like that. I like this. I like that.
I will say that is quite cool.
Like,
If you'd like to
I
as well, Tommy Trains, you'll notice on my DA, I've actually started doing my own fanfic of Thomas and the American Engines. If you ever want to take a look and read that and give that a good
I haven't
comment.
got around reading it because I thought you had like illustrations. Like,
I didn't have any illustrations yet, but I might consider doing it maybe if I can get back into trains again soon, depending on who I want to download with.
I also made my OCs pretty much if you guys want to use them. And here's Timothy and my OC Sophie. Like that.
But either ways, guys, it was really, really clever. Like I said, I'm not sure where we're going to go now, but I do know for a fact, like we said before, the fandom's definitely in a good position. But the thing is, we need to know how long it's going to last. That's kind of what's...
Especially with that possible Mark Forster movie that may come out. The Mark Forster, you never heard? They were going to make a movie after 2 seasons of AEG, All Engines Go, and they're planning on making it.
Mom?
I'll give this one chance. If it works as I think it is, then it might survive, but I have no idea. So it's a bit of a gamble here. So
Justify paying that much for him. What are you gonna eat for supper?
I see you've put Thomas and an LP together.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was really
probably
Thomas and Twilight.
Look, I may not be a fan of it, but nowadays I just like if that's what they want to do, just let them do it. Because I've seen some funny contents on YouTube who actually do that, which are quite passable for me.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to get you something to eat at the store?
I also just made some older OCs that never got around. I pretty much just removed them. Like here's Donnie, here's Gerald, Benjamin, Jacob, and pretty much about the Red Engine. Apparently, you guys call him Winston and Eagle, but for my canon, I named this Red Engine Clarence, named after Clarence Reginald Dalby.
No. Or cheese.
Or cheese.
There's my Avatar OCs, which is never gonna come. I don't know when. Do you want to see this? Like that? There he is.
I don't know. You want some chicken there or something?
Just get me some mac and cheese.
Damn.
And some spuds.
Well, if they don't have it.
I actually did this image where pretty much it's like, one of those images where Slenderman or Slenderman gets caught on camera, which caused a glitch like that.
I can say.
It's supposed to be like a disturbing image. Yeah.
Oh, I decided. How about dang it, the Forgotten Ones? I don't know. Maybe that could be an interesting concept. I might start writing that. I think I will.
So, anyways, guys,
Well,
that's going to be intriguing. Anyways, guys, I hate to cut this one short, but I've got to get going now. We've been on for quite a while, so we've done a good job. About 2 hours and 8 minutes into this. But again, Gusta, thanks for popping in. Nice to see you again, Tommy Trains, and thanks for you guys for popping in, and nice to see you too, Mr. Rogers. But we'll see what happens again, and if we ever do, we can just do an update on this and pick up where we left off.
Yep.
Sounds good to me.
Trains?
Next time I'll get Joseph Smith in if he likes to next time because he came really late.
Yeah, but he didn't know I was in a stream. He always gets those late notifications.
It seems like he flips out a little bit when he spoils you.
Yeah. I've known him for many years, so he but anyway, I'm gonna get going. So nice chatting.
Take care, Gusto. I'll check you later on when I get back, and see you later, Tommy Trains. Those guys, this is KaneFan701. Thanks for tuning in for this sensing of a positivity of more positives in the Thomas community. We'll see what happens.
I just hope it will continue to be good.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll see what happens maybe in a couple of weeks or maybe throughout the rest of the summer before we enter the autumn season. So let's just see where the rails will take us and hope for a positive outcome and as we progress on with this year, despite how it's been. But besides all that, take good care. Stay cool for the rest of the week because we might have another heat wave on the way. So drink as much fluid as you can to not get dehydrated. So take care, everybody, and see you at some point.